Hey friends, welcome to the Little Cottage tutorial. I'm super excited to put together this amazing little journal. It is absolutely one of my favorites. Now, a couple of things about this journal that I would recommend. First of all, if you're doing this journal at home, Rome wasn't built in a day. So I want you to know that take your time with it. If you're teaching a journal, there are a couple of things that you need to do to get ready to teach. My recommendation with the cover. This is actually it's actually a pretty good size journal, by the way. You can kind of see here size wise. I would highly recommend that you pre-cut these windows out before the class. Now, if you are doing your journal at home, the best way to cut them is actually going to be an X-Acto knife. Now, I don't recommend actually, mine are just kind of free cuts. They're not even straight cuts. You can see like right here. Um, with the little door right there, and they're not even, it's like not even, there we go. And I would pre-cut. If you're teaching a class at home, you want an X-Acto knife and a cutting mat to cut these, freehand them. This is not meant to be perfect. It is called a junk journal for a reason. So let's get started on this. This is an actual binded journal, and so we're going to be creating a binding for this journal. This journal is also expandable in the sense that it is tied here, and you can add extra. So if you're at home, you may have the ability to add extra pages. Now, one of the ways you can add extra pages is to take your current pages that you have, and so you would open up your journal, you would untie it, take the pages out, and trace them onto a piece of scrapbook paper and create more pages for it. So a couple of supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need some chiffon here. I love the chiffon ribbon. It's just super pretty in the journals. You're also going to need a ribbon that doesn't fray, that has a little bit more stability to it. And you're going to need something for the closure, like some beautiful lace, some ribbon, just something like, something kind of pretty to tie off your journal with. All righty. So in your journal, you're going to see here these scoring lines right here. So make sure you do not cut those lines. Your kit should have very specific instructions on it that says this is a fold line, do not cut. So please do not cut that line on your front cover as well as this. Now, it says at the bottom there, reminder, before adding the backing, here, make sure that you attach your ties in between the cover and the backing. I have made that mistake, so let's not make that mistake here. So let's go ahead and score these here. And very easy. We're just going to go ahead and score those. And there's another one just kind of lightly right here. Okay, now we got that done. Now we have our window openings here, and there are pieces in the kit for your window openings. Now, I would encourage you, if you're at home, get out some magazines, catalogs, mail flyers, and or even pictures of your kids, your grandkids, your own dogs. I love making my journals kind of an inspiration. They're just kind of like, they're like my little they're my inspiration journal. So I just love anything shabby chic, and I love this little dog, and it's so cute. I totally need one of those in my life. And we are just going to figure out where we want our pictures to go. And we are going to tape them in. Right there. Oh, it's cute. Maybe I'll move them over just a teeny tiny bit. And if your image is like, you can always trim it up if it's not. Oh yeah, I like that. That looks good. I've got a little creepy chair for the attic. So if you want a little creepy chair in the attic, or you can have like the little table, whatever you want to do with that. And you're going to have to trim off your chair. It'll be a little bit, it kind of, see there, we'll just kind of trim it up. You can use that in one of the other windows too. Doesn't matter. Okay. So I think in this one, I'm going to just put the bookshelf there. So you open it up and you see the plants and the books. This is where the junk journal part of it could really come into play, is just getting some old ephemera and some old magazines and cutting out your own photos. That. And then this little guy here underneath the dining room table, I'm going to put him like right there. Okay, that's good enough there. All righty. Now what we need to do is let's go ahead and glue these together. I need to tape or glue them. The basket of flowers on the outside. So we're going to go ahead and put some tape right there. I would recommend using double-sided tape as well as glue, because these journals get a lot of traction, but this journal is actually going to be binded by ribbon, so it's not as important. But I will use a little bit of glue here, maybe. Okay, and just kind of like line it up. Now, if you're at home, if you're creating at home, you can ink your edges if you'd like. If you're teaching in a class, you can have a waterproof like Crayola marker if you want to ink edges, or just kind of forgo that step. Doesn't really matter. As you guys know, I love having my edges inked. That one's dark. That's too dark for me. Let's do a lighter one. A little bit dark. That's okay for the... I also like to ink the edges of the window so you can't really see that. It's kind of helps the cuts a little bit. This step is totally optional. Okay. Alrighty. Now we're going to get our ties in place. So you're going to get your lace, ribbon, whatever it is that you want to use. I got this at the $1.25 store, Dollar Tree. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces. If you're teaching, make sure that you have these available already pre-cut in your kit. And we are going to glue and tape our pieces. That's good there. And that is good there. Let's go ahead and glue. And we're going to add some tape because we do want to keep moving along. And I would recommend glue and tape, especially in a if you're teaching. Okay. All right. Now we want to work on the inside cover. So you can see here that the paper, because it is a large journal, you should have 2 sheets of paper to cover up your markings. Now, depending on your cut, I like to just trim off this little like white edge right here. Some printers are super fancy. You can do all the way to the edge. Those are like usually the really expensive ones. Alrighty. And this is where it helps to get like a glue stick You have a lot of coverage. I'm going to move these pieces out of the way for right now. You want to definitely get your edges like really good. I would recommend using some glue. Just a fine line. Not a lot of glue. Glue, especially craft glues, they are water-based, and that can cause your paper to wrinkle. You don't want a wrinkly journal. And you're going to put it right where the fold is. Okay. Now, if you want to, you can take edge of your scissors. You can take and then you're going to do the same on this side, and then you're going to flip it over and trim it out. All right, so once you have both of them done, you're going to go ahead and trim out the outer edges, and then we're going to get started on the inside pages. Alrighty, once you're all done here, kind of set this aside, and we're going to start working on the insert pages. Now, a little bit of tip for you guys is that you don't need to, I would just cut down here, and I cut this straight and just kind of fussy cut this. Makes it a little bit easier to trim it up, and then you can definitely see like page 1A glued to 1A. So we want to go ahead and take these 1 to 1, it's obvious, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. So go ahead and get your pages glued, and then we'll go from there. All right, when you're gluing your pages together, I would definitely recommend using, again, because this is a traditional journal that's probably going to get a lot of use, opening and closing and all of that, I would recommend using some double-sided tape and, as usual, some glue. Like that, and then just kind of like line it up. And you don't want to trim anything just yet. Keep working through. Make sure that's lined up. And we'll be able to trim everything up once we get them complete. So keep working through. Get all 6 of them. I think there's 6 of them, right? 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Yep. Go ahead and get them all put together, and then we're going to attach and create our pages. Alrighty, now that your pages 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, now that your pages are put together, you want to take page 1 and page 2, put the others aside, and because they're fussy cutted, let's trim up the edges just a little, like just on the edge over here, like that. You'll see the reason for this in just a moment. There we go. Okay. All right. So page 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are going to be exactly the same. You're going to turn them over, and you are going to line them up as best as you can, like this, and glue them together. The reasons we fussy cutted them at the top is so that we can go ahead and kind of trim as we go, and they should technically line up. So hopefully they line up, but they should. So anyways, we want to get these here. Like that. I'll go ahead and glue them together. and go ahead and trim out our edges. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and now it's a little bit, when you're doing it like this, I will say that it's a little bit hard to get like the edges exactly, but I would just use your glue stick. These pages are going to be bound with ribbon, so they're going to actually be very, very stable. So let's go ahead and get these done and we'll trim them up, and then we can go ahead, any lifting edges, we can go ahead and intervene with that. And that looks all right. And then at this point, we are going to trim and make this all nice and pretty. Now, I know then some of these designs, especially like the lighter ones, it might be a little bit more difficult to see the lines on them, but you should be able to get it. And if anything, especially if you're creating at home with me, you can go ahead and just ink your edges to clean them up. You can like kind of trim up the bottom a little bit. Good. There we go. Now, this here is going to be our spine right here. So at this point, this has got a pretty good seal on it, even though it's just a glue stick. You're going to go ahead and score. Go ahead and score this here, because this is what's going to go inside of the book, just like this. See? So let's go ahead and get the other two pages done so I can show you how to bind them inside of your book. Okay, once you have your pages together, you should have 3 of them, and you want to just kind of put them in the order that you want them. You have your binding here, which they are going to go inside of your book. Now, you're going to need a hole punch for this part here. So let's go ahead and get our hole punch out, and we're going to go ahead and punch these. Now, this is total preference here. You can choose, this is a teeny tiny, like I think it's 1/8 of an inch. That's actually what I prefer doing my binding with. However, it's not a standard size. This one here is like a little, it's standard size, but it's like a little star / flower. Either one of them's fine. This one would be easier in class just to push the ribbon through. And then, the teeny tiny one, I am going to use my teeny tiny one. It's just what I personally prefer. And the way we're going to do this is, this is like really thick. You can try doing them all at once if you want to, but you're going to go all the way. You can see there all the way. And snap. Okay. Once you're done with that, you're going to get some ribbon that doesn't have a very high fray. you can get, yeah, these ones here I got off Amazon, so there's not a high fray. So anytime you're binding a journal, you want to try to not have edges that fray. It's also kind of nice because you can get, there's going to be some fraying, but you can get like a really sharp thing because your edges are, you'll see here, they are going to fray out a little bit. All right, we're going to push these through. Anytime you bind a journal like this, it's great because it makes it to the point like where you can add pages. You can just lay this out on some scrapbook paper, trace it out, and you can add more pages to it. This to me is a traditional junk journal where you can add that old ephemera to it. Yeah, like it's just like one of my most favorite designs. So, all right, so that side is done. And then we're going to go over here. And do this side here. Now this ribbon is actually like very stiff. You could use the chiffon if you want to. Also one of my favorite like go-to ribbons. It's just so pretty and so dainty. But I've just found that this works best for binding. Now you'll see here how these ends need to be trimmed up. But let's go ahead and get this binding in place. Even it out. And I encourage you, or you can encourage your students to keep their ribbons long so that they can add other pages. And then you can get the buddy system here together to hold in the middle. It also helps if your ribbon is got a good feel to it because it does make it easier to untie it later if you do want to add some pages. And we're gonna trim up our ribbon there, make it look pretty. Okay, alrighty. So for the most part, she is coming together quite nicely. So this particular kit has a lot of extra pieces, a lot of folders. We call them folios, envelopes, tags, cards, etc. There's a lot of moving parts to this. I always suggest to get your base done first and then start with the elements that need a little bit more space. So this is the waterfall. And so we're going to put together the waterfall. And most of this doesn't really need explanation. We'll put together these envelopes here. And you can see like some of the things. There's like little cards in there. There's tags. I love layering my tags, like one tag, like do like 3 or 4 on top of each other. I like to call them dangles. You can have like your folios, like stack them, layer them. There's all different kinds of sizes and shapes. So these journals are meant to be creative. There's no like set way to do them. Isn't this the cutest little thing ever? It's a card. So cut out, fold in half. I got the little cottage card. But let's do our waterfall pages so I can show you how these are done. So you want to go ahead and score the edges at the top, the tab, fold the tab in. Okay, so once those are in, if you want to ink your edges, I am going to just real quick here before I attach it. Just makes it easier because this is my personal journal. So we're going to go ahead and ink these up. Alrighty. All right, the short one is on the top, all the way to the large one on the bottom. And find the page that you would like to do it in. I think I'm going to do mine on the inside cover. And you can just kind of start. We want to start with a small one first. You can see like about right there. And then it should be about right there. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to do mine on the inside cover. I'm going to go ahead and use tape for this. You can use glue too if you want to, but glue is going to require you to have some clips available to clip it in place. And try to get this straight as possible. Okay. Now the next one is going to go All right. So the way I normally do mine is you have your fold line right there. I kind of like to do it like right in between because it's kind of in the middle. All right. There. And there we go. All good to go. All right. Our next element here are the two envelopes. And then after that, you guys are off and running. I want you to create, make it your own. This is very easy here. Just fold these in. There are some cards that fit inside of here. You'll find some square cards in your kit. Like that. Go ahead and snap these. And get some ribbon. Let me see here. I have glue on my scissors. No bueno. And then you can figure out where you would like your envelope element to go. And I think I'm just going to kind of pick a random page and tape on the back. And I think I'm going to do that so pretty. That kind of tie that off. Beautiful. All right, and then the next one is this envelope here. And this one you want to be a little bit careful when you're gluing it, or it's not going to be usable. And this is designed to fit a gift card. Little love notes too, but let's go ahead and fold these in. You can see the lines, obviously. Alrighty. Now on this one here, you only want to put a teeny tiny bit of glue here and here. Okay, just a teeny tiny bit of glue. If you get too much, you're going to end up gluing the flap down, and then you're going to have a hard time using it. A little bit of glue and a little bit of glue. You've got some binder clips you can, or paper clips work really well too. Just kind of hold that in place. And then from there, we can figure out what page we want to put it on, but we're just going to kind of set that aside for right now. All right, so at this point, the foundation of your journal is coming to life. Now, this is the part where I would like for you to get creative, cut out the pieces that you want to use, start putting your text together, lay out like where you kind of want, don't glue them yet, but just kind of lay out your folders. Don't be afraid to layer your folios. See, like do one here, one there. So we'll just kind of like, we don't need to glue that yet. And then we have this other one here, like use contrasting colors to make them come to life. And like this one here, like that one's just like super big. I don't know why that one's so big. That is bizarre. Design, yeah, that's good. I cut that perfectly too. Design flaw 101. I'm not sure what happened there, but anyway, so you can do that. And then these are like little writing tabs, little writing tablets. And you can actually put those like right here. Another one over here if you want to. And then you can take some of your, some of the fussy cuts, put a fussy cut on it. Or you can save them and tuck them inside of a folio too, if you want to like tuck them inside your folios. I would definitely lay out your folders. Put all the tags aside, all the little cards, I know, all the fun stuff. Put those aside and just lay out your tags, all right? Or your folios. So put all of these aside. There's different sizes too and different shapes. You may have more than you need. Okay. Ooh, I like that. And then that's so pretty. Over here, there's these ones here, and they can go like that, or like that. You can also cut the tabs off if you don't want to use the tabs. You can cut the tabs off. A couple of those, a couple of these. So lay out your pockets first, then you can start to like, you know, design more things and make your dangles and put your tags in there and write your cute little notes. And most of all, you guys have fun with that. This is like your journal, your work of art. None of them should look the same. They should all be different and they should reflect your personality. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoy it. I cannot wait to see what you create.